So I wanted to make this video on this issue where I came across a video of watching the Hawks of Russia today, and let's just take a look at this.
When most of us think of Nintendo, we think of Mario collecting gold coins or Zelda shooting light arrows to help Link. What you might not think of is that Nintendo also releases a fair amount of originally Japanese games that have been adjusted to suit.
Yeah, adjusted. You mean localized, aka censored, aka changed for people that are easily offended who most likely won't buy the game to start with. And why are these games being adjusted in the first place? Are we made of glass in the West? No, we're not. We're not made of glass. So why it needs to be adjusted in the first place is ridiculous and utter nonsense.
Western audiences. This includes translating voiceover, on-screen text, and sometimes toning down sexual content that could be offensive to Nintendo's family-friendly audiences.
Well, there are games, believe it or not, that are supposed to be for adults. There are games for teens, there are games for children. And if you're doing your job as a parent, you're not giving these games to children. You're not supposed to give mature games to children. So, by this logic, we expose our children to the most inappropriate things from an early age, which is very bad parenting. And why, again, is this offensive when it's not supposed to be consumed by adolescent children? It's the grown-ups that are getting triggered by this, which is the most baffling thing, by imaginary, fictional characters that isn't hurting anyone, and it's art, it's censorship.
In the U.S. Well, these adjustments seem to be a flashpoint of a recent campaign of harassment and abuse of Nintendo employee Allison Rapp.
So, I would like to know the definition of abuse and harassment. Are we using the legal definition, or are we again using the UN definition of Anita Sarkeesian? I would like to know.
That some say led to her termination from the company this week. It started with one of Nintendo's biggest releases of 2015, Xenoblade.
And you didn't do your job, now did you? She wasn't fired because of her what you said. Some say she was actually fired for moonlighting from Nintendo themselves. So you didn't do your freaking job by actually looking at the statements from the company itself, who released her from her contract, aka fired her.
Blade Chronicles X, a Japanese adventure game that had two major changes for its stateside release. One was the ability to dress the main character in a bikini. The second was an option to control the size of the character's breasts.
Okay, who is this hurting? What the fuck is wrong with this to begin with? There's nothing wrong with this because it's a game. It's fictional. It's just a bunch of pixels right here that are put together to look like a woman. Why are people getting offended by this?
Why would that be an issue to Western gamers? Well, because the character and many in this type of Japanese-made sci-fi and adventure games are implied to be teenagers in the 30s.
Implied, okay, but they're still fictional.
13 to 16-year-old range. So what does Allison Rapp have to do with the localization and/or censorship of Nintendo's Japanese games? Very little, actually. See, she was a mid-level marketing specialist with little to no connection to the localization process, who was...
Okay, so why are you making that claim that that's what people accused her of, meddling with the game? I would like a citation for this.
Targeted by a group of video game enthusiasts who've decided that they must stop the industry's movement to include more games that appeal to female gamers who, by
Citation needed. I would like a citation on this.
the way, actually buy over 50% of games. And to address
Actually, that's not true. Um, most Let's look at this way. Most female gamers are casual. They play on their phones, tablets, maybe even PCs, play farming and stuff like that. Hell, I can use my mother as an example. She plays free-to-play games, um, where she has people where she sends requests to, or she buys the microtransactions. And most male gamers, who the average age is, I think, around 33, I may be mistaken, and most of them are males, and they're the biggest target audience when selling games. They're the ones buying consoles, buying uh, gaming PCs, and actually buying several games on Steam. So again, I would like a citation for how much of a market these female gamers are, how much they spend actually.
issues of sexism and harassment within the industry. Whether you call them Gamergate or chant or culture, doesn't matter. They're an online group of rabble-rousers out to destroy the lives of any person, man or woman, within the games industry who expresses an opinion as a way to force game companies like Nintendo to push female gamers and the products they like.
Okay, I would like a citation for this again. Could you at least show me some examples? No, she won't.
Out of the business. Sadly, this time, it seemed to work. Essentially, what happened was this. The changes to Xenoblade angered fans, and without a specific person to blame, they found rap.
Citation needed again. I would like to see tweets blaming her for the changes of Xenoblade. Please show me evidence that this is even the case. Uh, are you sure it's not that people are pissed off at the localizer or even Nintendo themselves for censoring content? Again, you're making some very bold claims about Gamergate, gamers, and the industry itself without any citations.
Helped promote Nintendo products online and at conventions, despite the fact that she had actually voiced her opinion that the breast option should be kept in the game. They used her as the target of their rage.
Citation needed again.
They dug through everything they could find online for months in an effort to shame her, and when that didn't work, they turned to accusing her of being, of all things, a pedophile apologist.
Well, if you dig through her Twitter, she has said some very controversial things. Now you can make your own opinion of what you think she said or hasn't said. I won't even go into that because that's not even what the piece is supposed to be about. But she said she's made a thesis and said some very eyebrow-raising things on Twitter. So let's just leave it at that.
They pointed to a 2012 academic paper she wrote entitled Speech We Hate, an argument for the cessation of international pressure on Japan to strengthen its anti-child pornography laws. What she discussed in the paper was a historical context of Western governments pressuring Japan to enact laws criminalizing not only sexualized images of actual minors, but also computer-generated images and graphic.
Well, what you're now, isn't it kind of funny? Now you're taking rap's side by saying these offensive sex. You've turned from sex negative to sex positive in just 3 minutes, and you're now saying that uh, her saying that child pornography, that's or lolicon, or whatever you wanna say it is, should basically be legalized, and you're kind of defending her right now. So, what is it?
Novels that include depictions that appeared to be of minors. It also includes critical analysis of scholarly debates about whether cultural imperialism, when one's culture's norms are forced on another, and in how scholars don't seem to have a clear consensus about whether the possession of graphic and sexualized images that are of or appear to be of minors actually leads to abuse.
Yeah, and this is where the problem is. She's defending this and wants she's kind of advocating for this, but where she even uses an example. So, but again, what's your point?
Essentially, her argument was that there's no evidence to suggest that censorship will rid the world of child abusers, saying child pornography is not the cause of societal issues regarding children, and its total eradication should not be considered a solution to its ills. She never advocated for the legalization of pedophilia. She never tweeted about the...
Oh dear Lord. Okay, you could totally miss the point of the entire thesis. It's possession, not pedophilia. Which you could argue is kind of pedophilia, but yeah, you completely missed the point there.
The abuse of children should be legalized. She never said anything of the sort.
Well, if you have a CP, you're kind of advocating for it. So just saying. Again, you can make your own opinion on mine about this. Searching up information. I'm not gonna tell you what you think. Just make up your own damn mind.
But that didn't stop the harassers from conning well-known child abuse activists into attacking her, or even enlisting them.
I would like again a citation for this.
Help of neo-Nazi publication, the Daily Stormer, to do the same. They even went so far as to call for their users to, quote, examine the impact of Jews and feminism on our society. Now, Nintendo has responded to the controversy in a statement saying,
I would just like to say, are you now trying to pit the Gamergate, with these Nazis? Because that's what you're doing. You're basically using guilt by association here.
Allison Rapp was terminated due to violation of an internal company policy involving holding a second job in conflict with Nintendo's corporate culture. Though Ms. Rapp's termination follows her being the subject of criticism from certain groups via social media several weeks ago, the two are absolutely not related. We wish Ms. Rapp well in her future endeavors, we wrote.
Yeah, but why did you, in the beginning of the piece, say that some say it's because of the abuse and harass, in quotation marks? This video doesn't make any sense.
We reached out to Nintendo for this piece but got no response. Here's the thing, Allison Rapp doesn't want to be another situation like what happened to Zoe Quinn or Anita Sarkeesian last year during...
You mean them going to the UN and basically saying if you call someone a liar or criticize them, that's harassment? Or when every time they've lied about harassment. How about the Utah incident where there was no threat to any student, but she cancelled? They're basically professional victims at this point, and Anita is getting 20,000 for each speech she's doing, and still hasn't delivered on her Kickstarter and made a new one. And how about Zoe Quinn, who gets like $3,000 a month for not doing anything? Again, It blows my mind.
The Gamergate scandals. She actually said on Twitter, many of you are talking about Gamergate and Nintendo, but I'd actually prefer that this become a convo about the industry in general.
This is very facetious, because you're actually missing the tweet she did before, where she blamed Gamergate on of her losing her job. So that's one very specific tweet you have taken, and not actually taken the tweets that she made in a row. So very selective and cherry picking right here.
Here's the thing, let's stop allowing nameless, faceless hordes to use the anonymity of the internet to harass strangers. And
Harass again. Citation needed. I can pull up the Pew Research, which shows that men are harassed more than women, and debunk her right now.
Corporations in the name of violence, sex shaming, harassment, sexism, and bigotry. Instead, let's start addressing the real issues keeping the worlds of tech and gaming from being a place everyone is welcome.
So who's stopping you from buying a console or a PC? Oops, sorry, or a PC or a phone where you can game. There's nothing stopping you from buying something to make a game or buy games on. Games are exclusive; they're not inclusive. You buy a console of sorts or a PC of sorts to play games. So this entire video is just a sham of it's a hit piece where it contradicts itself several times and changes its narrative halfway through. So make up your own minds about the entire situation, and yeah, thanks for watching and see you guys next time.